Hi friends, happy Hanukkah. Tonight's the second night, and as I promised, I would deliver a gift every night, and it would take the shape of words of inspiration that have to do with the subject of light. And I want to start tonight with a subject that's dear to my heart, and that is Jewish divorce. In Judaism, there's a ceremony called a get, whereby a husband releases his wife, and she's free after that. However, if a husband refuses to give his wife a Jewish divorce, she could be married to him forever. So the Rambam decided, a great Jewish rabbi, that if officers of the Jewish court will go and beat up the husband and get him to say, Rotzeh ani, I want it, then the divorce can move forward and it's valid. Now in every other court, if you force somebody to sign a contract or to do something, it becomes invalid. You've cooperated or signed under duress. In Judaism, it's valid for this particular situation. And the answer is why? Because the rabbis teach that Rotzeh ani, I want, is really what you want. The inside, the unadulterated part of you, the deepest and best part of you wants to do the right thing. What stops us? Ego, anger, revenge, all little adjectives really basically to say the evil inclination wants to stop a person from doing the right thing. Now I said that these little talks every night would be about the subject of light. So how does it pertain? And the answer is, what is that part of you, that untouched part of you that wants to shine and be bright and to do the right thing? And that is called a pintele yid, the spark of the Jew. The part of the Jew that wants to roar and be a flame and to do wonderful things, but it's smothered by all the black and the schmutz and the mud. The pintele yid. There is a spark of goodness in every single person, in you, in me, and that's why we can never give up on each other. Sometimes we'll say in life, I've gone too far, the whole Jewish thing is not for me, or this person or that person has gone too far, they can't help them, so it's not my problem. It is your problem. You are your brother's keeper, and you're your own keeper. You have never gone too far because there is that part of you that is just waiting to be activated. You know, Bruce Springsteen had that song, you can't start a fire without a spark. But that means that you can start a fire with a spark. So don't turn a blind eye to anybody in your life, no matter how low they went or how low you've gone. No, there is hope. Where there is life, there is hope. In fact, even in Judaism, that's why we don't believe if somebody's on their deathbed. 1 second earlier that you pull the plug and you are accused of murder, you're a murderer. Because where there is life, there is hope. There's such a powerful example that comes from World War II in the concentration camps. You know, there were Jews who worked as taskmasters over their own people. They served at the pleasure of the Nazis, and they got favors, maybe 1 day of life more, a piece of bread, anything. But what they did was abuse their own people, hard on their own people, every which way, just to prove themselves loyal to the Nazis, to the German cause. There was one such person in a concentration camp named Schneeweiss. He was known for his cruelty, his hatred towards Judaism, his hatred toward anything that served God or anything that had to do with his own people. He knew where his bread was buttered, and he was cruel and mean and as bad as you can be. That's who he was, Schneeweiss. Came around the time of Yom Kippur, and there were people in the concentration camp who even though we know the law in Judaism that if your own life is at risk, that you don't have to keep Shabbat or Yom Kippur or many other things, most things, you want to save a life, you save one life, it's as if you save the entire world, according to the Talmud. So there were some people that even though they knew that law, they still wanted to keep Yom Kippur and they wanted to fast. So they went to the rabbi who was in their camp and they said, please go to this Shnei Vais, see, I don't know, give it your best shot. We don't want to have to work extra hard on Yom Kippur, or maybe we won't have to work at all or something. We don't want to eat and we don't want to have to do sins on Yom Kippur. So they brought that case to the rabbi. The rabbi, a leader, whether you're in a concentration camp or wherever you are, you're a leader and you have to do what you have to do. So he takes the case to Shnei Vais and he says to him, there are people in the camp, including me, we want to keep Yom Kippur. Please don't put us in the hardest labor that we should be so weakened that we have to eat or that we won't be able to keep Yom Kippur and do it properly. I'll think about it. With schlecht, with meanness, whatever. He heard the rabbi out. But something in there maybe disturbed or ignited the Pintele Yid, like when you take that long stick in the fireplace and you kind of stoke the fire, just when you think it's just about to go out. Shnei Vais comes back to the rabbi the next day and he says, fine, on Yom Kippur, you're going to work in the apartments of the Nazis, you're going to clean it, you have to do it perfectly, you mess up, it's on your head. Fine, do what you want, so I arranged it for you. Yom Kippur comes. The rabbi and these select Jewish people who wanted to do Yom Kippur properly, they're cleaning the apartment, they're doing everything they can not to violate the holiday, for sure they're not eating. And they're singing with such intensity, probably like they never sang before, because in the darkness they needed the light of Hashem. The Nazis barge in and they throw food at them. Eat! In the concentration camp, you really wanted to eat. Anything they gave you was a luxury, a gourmet meal. The rabbi said, today is Yom Kippur, it's a holy day for us. We don't want to eat, we'll do the work properly. As you see, we're working very hard, the apartment is clean, we're doing everything right. Please, we don't want to eat. Eat, you dogs, eat! They begged, they pleaded, if you don't eat, we're going to kill you. They resisted, and the rabbi, with all his diplomacy and grace, danced around the subject, tried to get themselves out of the predicament that they were in. So the Nazis are upset, and they go immediately to the supervisor, the Jewish supervisor, Shnei Vais. They don't want to eat, make them eat. So he explained to them, it's Yom Kippur, they won't eat. It's Yom Kippur, they won't eat. But siding with the Nazis, but, a little bit of a protection, explanation, more than anything else. The Nazi said to Shnei Vais, if they won't eat, then you eat. Shnei Vais, an enemy to his own people. He says not only for them is it Yom Kippur, but for me too, it's Yom Kippur, and I will not eat. The Nazis took the gun and they shot him in the head, and he died. The rabbi, the other Jewish people in the premises, their next assignment was to clean up the body, the blood, and to clean up the place. And they lived. Shnei Vais, an enemy to his people, who did everything to survive no matter what it was. The Pintele Yid was in there, and he died a martyr despite how he lived. This is not Aesop's fable or a pretty little story. This story is being retold by the rabbi himself who survived. The Pintele Yid is inside every single person. Do not give up on your neighbor, on your friend, or your brother, or your sister. And whatever you could do to reawaken inside of them the Judaism, to be a Jew, to keep Shabbat, to say a prayer, to say thank you when otherwise they wouldn't. Whatever you can do to bring about the animation and to stoke the flames, that's what we need to do. 1 vial of oil was left in the Beit Hamidrash. Only one. And that little vial was able to illuminate the rest of the 8 days. Just a little pintele, a little spark, a little something was able to give life to the miracle of Chanukah. That is my lesson for tonight. Be the light, see the light. Chag Sameach, happy Chanukah.